Hey everybody, this is Cherokee Edwards from Cherokee Edwards Inspires, where we're going to have shows here to talk about life, to talk about what makes your life special, what makes it better, and everybody working together, because together everyone achieves more. Acronym for the word team. Stay tuned and let's get it on. Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of the Cherokee Edwards Inspires. Today I want to talk about fear. Yes, that magical word that seems to stop everything in its tracks, that seems to stop the best relationships, that stops a boy from walking up to a girl that he wants to talk to stop that man or woman from going and getting the grades that they want, from taking that test that they want to take. It stops everything. Fear stops you from going to the places you really want to go. It stops you from going after that job you always wanted. It stops everything, everyone. It's a paralyzing situation and emotion is fear. So the first thing I want to talk about as I get started, and if you have a pad and pen handy, I want you to write the word fear down. I want you to write FEAR. Now, if you wrote it across, which I'm pretty sure you did, underneath each letter, I want you to write the word I asked you to write, all right? So let's start with the letter F, right? So underneath the F, I want you to write the word false. False. And then move over to the E, and I want you to write the word evidence, okay? Evidence. And under the A, I want you to write the word appearing. The word appearing. And then under the letter R, I want you to write the word real. So if you did what I asked you to do, you have the word fear going across, and then underneath the letters, you have the words false evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. That's all fear is. False evidence appearing real. So when we start talking about things that we fear, let's think about that. If you fear a job or fear going to get the job you really want, then what you're really doing is you're self-imposing something that is negative. Oh, they're not going to hire me. I'm not the one they want. Well, you may be the one they want. And that's just, it's stopping you. You're not wanting to be told no. You can't be afraid of the word no. That's just not, it can't be in your equation, right? Fear is of a coward sense. It brings out the coward in us. It's just like fatigue. Fatigue will bring out the coward in us all. When you get tired, that's when it's usually easier to beat you in anything, whether it's a sports-related situation, activity, or a fight, or anything else. So a battle, a test of wills is your fatigue. One of my football coach used to always tell me, Coach Hackett and Coach Poole, always told me that the other team is tired too. The team that doesn't show that fatigue is generally going to be the team that has the upper hand. And I'm going to tell you guys this, in life it's the same way. When we say we fear things, we already give it life. We've given the fear life. So we've made it so, now all of a sudden fear is taking over, and that's something that should never happen. That just shouldn't happen. I remember being a kid and I was so afraid of this bully. We had a bully in our elementary school, and everybody used to be afraid of him, right? I mean, the guy was big. He failed a couple times, so he was in a much lower grade than he should have been in. He shouldn't have been in our grade system anyway. However, he was. So even though he wasn't in our grade, he was like in the 6th grade, and me and my friends were in like the 1st grade, 2nd grade. This guy should have been in high school, and he looked like a grown man. And he was the size of my dad, so he was a grown man, basically almost 6 feet tall, big boy. And most of me and my friends, we were afraid of him. We really were afraid of this guy. So one day one of the big boys that we all respect said, you know what? He got me and my best friend at the time, best friend Mike. He said, hey, it's two of y'all. And then there was other friends. We had a little group of our own. They said, if one of y'all gets attacked, all of you guys should fight back, because it's only a matter of time before this bully is going to get you, So you have to think about that. Okay, today is my day, right? But tomorrow is Mike's day, and the next day is Herb's day, and the next day is Jeff's day, and the next day is Frank's day. Next day is Larry's day. So, and these were my friends. These were my buddies coming up. So one day, me and Joey, me and the guy, I'm sorry, I slipped to say that. I don't like to say names like this, but me and the guy got off the bus and we got into it, as we always did, And of course, one-on-one, I couldn't beat this guy. I mean, we knew, he was much bigger and stronger than me. So what would happen was the same routine: grab me, throw me down, and start punching me and doing whatever. But the one thing I didn't realize, and again, this goes back to fear. Fear paralyzed me to the point where I forgot I can throw my hands. I forgot I could punch and fight back. So once we would get into it, as soon as he grabbed me, as far as I was concerned, the fight was over. Throw me down and start punching me and beating me, right? Well, the crowd and the people would be around. They'd be like, man, that's messed up. That's messed up. You always jumping on him. You always doing this. Now, we would all play around and cut jokes at each other and this, that, and the other, but he couldn't take that. So his way of taking it, instead of just cutting back and keep going, is to fight. Well, one day, our buddy, our this guy really taught us a lot, and he was a Marine too. He's I always say he was my cousin, but he gave us the best advice ever when he told us to unify. And he said, just act like it's somebody out of the neighborhood or somebody that's just coming to disrespect you guys in the neighborhood or whatever, right? And I don't mean to use a fight as the metaphor for teaching, but it really is. It really is today. It's the same thing. You'll see how it ties in. So we start scrambling again. We start scuffling and doing our thing. And my boy Mike walked around him. I never forget this. He walked around him, around the backside, while he was leveled up with me. And he kicked him in his butt so hard. I mean, it was tremendous. You hear me? And of course, the bully started chasing him. So all of us started running together. So that day we were taught. We were self-taught, but it was actually instilled in us by my cousin Kenny. And I still call him my cousin to this day, which was my boy Herbie's older brother, right? And he said, you guys got to fight together, because one of these times he's going to catch each one of you by yourself, and you can't beat him like that. You can't beat him alone. It takes teamwork. So we found out that day, hey, as long as all of us were deciding to do this together, the bully was, neutralized. He couldn't do anything anymore. So we jumped him. We did. And then there was another day, the one-on-one session. And, the cool part was, I ran, and I was so fast, there was no way the bully could catch me. So we ran home. And my dad just happened to be there that day. So I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be cool. My dad's going to take care of me. He's going to save me. So I run past him. And I'm telling you guys, you would have thought I was a stranger running into my own house, because my dad was like, what are you running for? And the bully was chasing me. And my dad saw that too. So I'm thinking he's going to take care of the bully, right? So he asked the bully, he said, why are you chasing my son? He said, well, he was cutting up on me, as far as, telling jokes. We call it cracking, jonesing, or whatever you want to call it. And he said, okay, so that warrants you to want to beat him up, huh? And he said, it's okay. You could tell me you want to beat him up. And he said, yeah, I was going to beat him up. So my dad looked at me and he said, I tell you what, you got two choices. You get out here and you fight him, or you stay in here and you deal with me. Well, I know that my dad did not want me to be beaten up. And I know he wouldn't have let it go the way it has gone in the past. But my fear was greater for what he would do to me rather than what the bully would do to me. So I summoned up some craziness inside of me, jumped off the step, and I just started flaring. Well, I found out that the bully couldn't take a lot of these punches. And because those punches were coming so fast and so furiously and ferociously, I was basically fighting for my life, whereas he was just ready to just wrestle. And that opened up everybody's eyes that ran behind us to watch this, whatever was going to go on. Because you know how kids are. Once we know a fight's going to happen, we all want to get there, get our front row seats to it and see what happens, whether we like the person that wins or not. All right. So again, that was a lesson in there's nothing to fear except fear itself. Even if I get beat up, the respect level will be there that I actually took the beating and gave out what I could give out. Because back in those days, a lot of times it was just about fighting with your hands. I know it's different now, ladies and gentlemen. Now people pull out guns and they want to blast you, and I think that again is a coward act because people are scared to take a butt whipping. I'll be back in a minute after word from our sponsors and we'll get deeper into this.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cherokee Edwards Inspires. And today we're talking about fear and why we should not have it. All right. So we talked about what fear actually is. Fear is false evidence appearing real. As I told you about the story with the bully and that situation. Now, let's talk about the fear. This is a little better story. This is a fear of asking a girl to dance. I'm at a dance and this happened at the skating rinks too, but I specifically remember the dance. There was a girl that all of us liked, and everybody liked, you always have girls that you like in your classes and upperclassmen a lot of times, somebody in a grade higher than you or a couple grades higher than you. And this girl's name was Monique, right? And I wanted to dance with her. I liked her. She had a sister named Michelle, who everybody liked. I mean, Michelle was like, she was a beauty queen as far as anybody was concerned, right? There's a number of those in school, but this story is one that I just want to say kind of changed my life. And this was when I was in the 8th grade. She came up and asked me to dance. And I was floored. I mean, because even the upperclassmen wanted her, so it's like, what? Okay, well, go out there and dance with her. Well, let me tell you something, guys. She didn't ask me to dance because she wanted to date me. She asked me to dance because she wanted to educate me. What she said to me while we were dancing, and we were slow dancing, and the upperclassmen are looking, the guys are looking because they wish they were me, the girls were looking because they were like, oh my God, I can't believe he got her to dance with him. And they didn't realize I didn't ask her to dance, but no one knew. She asked me. She whispered in my ear, she said, Cherokee, I'm going to tell you something. You are too cute to be so shy. You have so much charisma. You're so cool. You could dance with any girl in here. All you got to do is walk up to her and ask her to dance. She said, Monique is waiting for you. And this was her sister. She said, she's been waiting for you to dance. Have you noticed how she's shooting people down? I said, yeah, that's why I didn't ask her to dance, because she's telling people no. She said, she's telling people no because she's waiting for you. Now, I didn't know that, and Monique is sure not going to come and tell me that, because that's not what we did in elementary school or middle school or junior high school, and sometimes even high school. We just didn't do things like that. The girl waited for the guy to come and approach. So if you were scared to do it, you just missed out on that opportunity, a golden opportunity. Well, I will say this. That was the last day of me being truly shy on that level where I was too nervous to come up and approach a woman to dance. So the next thing, when we were finished dancing, the very next person, it gave me a boost of confidence. So I walked up to her sister and said, hey, Monique, you want to dance? And of course she said yes. And the rest is history. Next thing you know, I'm dancing with everybody and we're just having fun. And it changes the way the parties are, because now you're not that guy or that young lady that's walking into the club or the party and standing on the wall just waiting for the party basically to end while you're watching the few that had the confidence to come and dance have all the fun. Well, the same thing holds true in business. If there's a job that you want, don't look at it like it's above you. It's too much for you. You are enough. Go after it. Find out what it takes to do that job. Find out what it takes as far as requirements, and make sure you go do it. And make sure you go do it. And have the confidence, because confidence actually will beat and defeat fear every time. Confidence is what is necessary. You have to be confident that you're the right man or woman for the job. You're the right man or woman for that person. You're the right man or woman for that location, that school, those clothes. You have to believe that you deserve the best that this world has to offer. So understand, when you're doing things, you have to think that way. You have to know that everything works the way it's intended to work. But it only works the way it's intended to work if you work it, if you push it to do what it's supposed to do. So I tell you about the mindset, and I tell you about how this should feel. If you think you're beaten, you're already beaten. You're already beaten before you even try. If you don't dare to do something, you'll never do it. You know, if you like to win, but, you know, you seem like you're almost certain you're going to lose, then you've already lost. You won't win. Whatever it is, you won't win, because mentally you've already defeated yourself. You know, you have to think about that. Success begins with a person's will. If your will is right, it's a state of the mind. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a lie and the truth. So if you constantly feed your mind negative things, you're going to have negative results constantly. So what we have to do is start to give ourselves positive reinforcement, positive self-talk, and then reinforce that positively day in, day out. No matter what's going on in the world, no matter what the news is saying, no matter what other people are saying, oh, you can't do this, you're not smart enough, or you're not the right color, you're not the right complexion, you're not the right height, you're not the right this, that, and the other, or social background. You're all of these things. You convince yourself you're all these things before you show the world you are. If you think you're outclassed in something, you are. It's a simple understanding. You know, there's a saying I love, and I hear it and I study it a lot. You have to think high to rise. You have to be sure of yourself before you can ever get the prize. So if you don't think high, you can't rise. And if you can't rise, there's no prize for you. That's what that means. You know, life's battles don't always go to the stronger or the faster man or woman. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So if you're the man or woman and you think you can, you can. If you're the man or woman, you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. And another thing that I will tell you, as far in the way of trying to do something, when you set out, you don't try. You either do it or you don't. Understand that you either win or you learn, but you never lose until you quit. Quitters are the only ones who truly lose. And winners never quit. They never quit. And quitters never win. They just never win. We have a lot of young people coming up behind us, people, and they're watching us. They need to see what a champion looks like. They need to see what a champion sounds like. They need to see what a champion walks like. What does a champion do in adversity? In the face of adversity, do they tuck their tail and run, or do they fight? Do they stand and fight? Face your fears, and you'll find out that fear is nothing but false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Tell yourself that about every single thing you're afraid. Don't be afraid to start a business. Right now we're experiencing in the world a major pandemic. A major pandemic. This is the time for you to do a checkup from the neck up. This is the time to read that book you always wanted to read, some self-help book. Listen to some motivational CDs and online links. And then get your pad out, your pen, your calculator, and write down some goals. Write down goals that you know you want. On one side, write down bills, things that you know you have to pay, things you know you owe. And on the other side, write down your wants, your desires. I'll tell you something, people. If your desires are legit and they're real, in other words, these are things that you really believe in, you really believe you want, you'll find out that the things that you really want in life, if you get those things, your needs will be taken care of as well, right in the heart of that. What most people do is work with the eyesight of and the intention of fear. So people, all you hear is people afraid they're going to lose their job. They're afraid that they're not going to get their job back when they're on furlough. They're afraid that they can't do things. They can't, I want to be my own boss, but I'm afraid because everything is on me. What if I told you that everything is on you anyway, even when you work for someone else? Because that job is not guaranteed to you tomorrow. That job is not guaranteed to you. So because of that, you have to think about it as this is something that you want to do and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it done. I moved out of Philadelphia, at 18, and I vowed I would not be back there until I was a self-made man. I wanted to be able to do things for my mom and give her a better life because she was a single mom and she fought her whole life that I saw. Nothing was given to her. She had to really fight. So I said I wanted to be, a beacon of light to her. I wanted to show her that she wasn't a bad mother, first of all. And I wanted to show her that she was a queen, which is what I've always told her she was. And the only way you can truly show your mother, your wife, your daughters, whatever it is, somebody that you love like that they are that queen, is to treat them royally. Because if you don't, that's not a queen. It's not your queen anyway. And so be it. And the same thing for a king. If your father is a king, if your son is a prince, teach him how to be a king. But that means you have to be a king. And one thing you're going to know about kings in all animal form, life form, kings move forward. Even if they're afraid, they will not let you see their fear if they're true kings. And the reason why I say that is because that's where courage lives. Courage is you're uneasy about something or fearful of something, but you move forward anyway. That's where courage comes in. Your character is not built on your triumph. Your character is built on and tested on adversities. So just because things don't go easy for you, they don't come easy for you, doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. And most of the time, things that we get in life, we deserve it. A lot of people say, man, that person didn't deserve that. That person didn't deserve this. And I'm not saying this is the case for everything, but in most cases, you find that when things happen, bad things follow people with bad habits. Now, I'm not saying bad things follow bad people. I'm saying bad things follow people with bad habits, just as good things follow people with good habits. So create that good habit, starting with your mindset. Reduce the level of fear. The more focused you stay on good habits, the less time you can give to fear. Because fear usually resides in bad habits, poor habits. Habit of, somebody not getting up and, not getting up on time. If you're one of those people that needs an alarm clock, I understand, I get it. Set your clock 15 to 30 minutes fast. Convince yourself that your time is right. I'm always way ahead in the time factor because the only times I can't really change is the one on my cell phone. So I don't really look at the phone on my cell phone for the time. I look at my watch, and my watch will be 20 minutes fast minimum. And I want to be early based on my watch, not based on America's time, the Eastern Standard Time. I want to be 20 minutes early. So if I'm 20 minutes early and my watch is already 20 minutes fast, if you do the quick math, that means I'm at least 40 minutes before I was due to be there. It's better to be 3 hours early rather than 1 minute late. That's another thing that I really want to teach you guys, is that when you're early, you can prepare for being on time. So in other words, if something goes wrong, the what ifs happen, you have time to fix things and be prepared for the meeting or the interview or the date. Believe me, you want to make people get them accustomed to you being early and prepared, rather than them always saying, oh, they're going to come late. They're always late. They're always late. Well, guess what? The best jobs don't go to the people who come late. It shows undisciplined, people. If you're undisciplined, people don't want you. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to be that person that raises your hand when someone asks for a volunteer. Is there anybody here that will help me do this? If it's, as long as it's ethical, moral, and correct, put your hand up, even if it's something that you've never done before, because that's where greatness lies. Greatness doesn't go to the person following everybody. Generally, when you're behind and you get what's called leftovers, so you're not getting the prime of anything if you're the leftover. Build a good team. Build people that you can trust. And if you're around people that you can't trust, even if you call them brother, sister, cousin, best friend, whatever you call them, husband, wife, you have to change your circle. And you can't be afraid. Again, here goes that fear. You can't worry about what people say when you're trying to get ahead in life. This is your life. This is your life. So why would you listen to people who don't want anything? When people are so quick to give you advice, what I'd ask you to do is look at their life. If they're giving you advice, look at who they are, where they are in life, and then ask yourself this question. Is that where you want to be? If that's not where you want to be, then you need to go change your association. You need to reduce that fear and go find people that are in the wheelhouse or in that arena that you want to be in. If you want to be an accountant, start hanging out with more accountants. See if you can pick up an internship there. If you want to be a lawyer, make sure you read books, law books. Look at some cases. Go into courtrooms and sit in the back pews and watch some of these court cases go down, even though you're not on the docket. Just to make sure this is what you want to do. If you want to be a teacher, hang out with teachers. Go to the PTAs. Go to, just do things that show the presence of teaching. One thing that I always love, Steve Jobs said this, never let your schooling interfere with your education. That's pretty cool. That's deep too, if you think about it. Never let your schooling interfere with your education. There are some people, they'll stay in school, they'll stay in college for most of their life. Every time you turn around, they're taking courses. And a lot of times what I say is, a lot of them are afraid to live. They're so busy studying life that they're failing to live it. And then you have some people that maybe didn't even finish high school and got a GED. And they're making six figures to millions of dollars. What's the difference? That one chose to live and allowed life to educate them. So remember now, and I'm not saying don't go to higher learning. I've gone to college myself, so I'm not going to sit here and knock it. But I promise you, had I not played football and for the military, there wouldn't have been something. I mean, I still feel like most of my education came with military training, my parents training it to begin everything, and associating myself with like-minded people, individuals that did what I wanted to do. Sales was my big thing, so I was always around salespeople. You know, I developed a lack of fear of commission sales because I started studying the richest people in the world. They work on commission. They don't work for hourly rate. Warren Buffett does not work for hourly pay. Robert Kiyosaki does not work for hourly pay. You know, people that you respect, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, they work for commission. You know, Bill Gates. So remember what I said, everybody. Take this stuff seriously. Remember, there's nothing to fear except fear itself. And fear is false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Thank you guys so much for taking this time out with me. This is the Cherokee Edwards Inspires. Cherokee out. I love you. Wash your hands.